Hey, welcome. My name is Jessica Myers, and a lot of people may know me as being a real estate entrepreneur and developer. But more importantly, at the core, beyond anything, I'm me. I am a bold, powerful, and courageous leader that has been responsible for making some pretty fearless moves. But beyond fearlessness, there comes fear. So that's what I'm here to talk to you about today because I get afraid. And I get afraid the same way anybody else would get afraid. But the only difference between me and someone else is that I do it and I do it afraid. Now, a lot of times that's landed me in success, but sometimes it's landed me in hardship. Sometimes it's been hard to come back through, and you got all of these other layers of things that you're involved in and that you're doing that makes it tough. Every decision just isn't a black or white. There are a lot of layers and things like that that you have to make in business sometimes. And that's one of the things that I've had to focus on is finding my center and remaining center in the midst of it. That's why whenever I talk about anything when it comes to achievement and personal development, it literally comes with the thought. And people's like, oh, they're expecting me to give this E equals MC squared times 2 divided by 100 and everything else. Because don't get me wrong, I love the math. I love the chemistry. I am all for it. But it does not have to be that complex. It literally get down to the basics. Like, yes, it's the money. So many times people are like, hey, I want to make 50,000. I want to make 60,000. And one thing I learned is that you can make it quick, but you can lose it just as quick. So just to go after the temporary chase of the money, you will always be chasing. In my career, I've gotten to meet some very wealthy individuals and people that are around very wealthy individuals. And I asked them, I was like, because I've rubbed the shoulders with a few millionaires, even billionaires. And I was like, is it ever enough? Is it ever enough wealth? And they said that there is somebody who's making 3 billion looking for 5, which lets me know that the person looking for millions is only going to want billions. So it's always going to be this chase of more. So that's why they say get ahead of the money, get beyond the money. And that's one of the things that I realized is I feel like I'm living a life that really money can't buy, because what I've chased is really the desire. I have this insatiable chase to get dreams and visions done. I actually got my start in corporate America, working at Fox. Actually, ironically enough, I got my start working at here in Atlanta. And I remember meeting so many wonderful, amazing, beautiful people whom I really got to see recently. And I also met some other people that were towards the end of their career. And one of the things they imparted upon me as a teenager, they were like, oh, I gave my whole job, my whole life to this. And I was like, what about your dreams unfulfilled? And they were talking about all these things that they wanted to do and hadn't. And I was like, wow. But then when I went to New York and worked at CBS, I noticed the same thing. But then when I would sit with my neighbors, friends, it was so many people living lives unfulfilled. Meanwhile, I was having an amazing time, right? I can't say that I was flooded with money at the time, but I was always blessed. Like in college, I thankfully went on a full ride scholarship. I studied journalism at Georgia State. I was able to go on a full ride. So it's so crazy to be now in the world of entrepreneurship because I never experienced the highs and lows like I have now. Like, oh, it literally is about setting up each month with how you want to live. How much steady income and cash flow can you set up? That's what we're on the journey to discover through acquiring real estate, through acquiring and doing other assets. Like, it's not all real estate. I do other business as well. I help other people grow in their businesses also. And I find it very fun to work with entrepreneurs who have dreams and who have visions, and they're bigger than their current circumstance. Because a lot of times we like to plan, because sometimes people come to me and be like, hey, Jess, can you help me plan this out? I got $100,000 here, and I need you to show me how to grow it and da 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 da. And one of the things that I learned, for one, if you're looking for fast money and just how to grow your money, I'm not the space for you. I am the type that will help you get impact, that will help you. Like, hey, Jess, I'm looking to lead over 50,000 leaders to get them to the next level, and I'm living a purpose-driven life. And I desire to do so, and I desire to get paid. And that's how we can map out ways to monetize what it is that you do for passion, and how to grow and create generational wealth through putting it in proven systems. Now, don't get me wrong. There are 4 ways that you can increase your portfolio without having to put work. And one of those is real estate. The other is stocks and bonds. The other is jewelry and art. So, as an entrepreneur, I partake in real estate. You can be an entrepreneur, you can be in stocks and bonds, you could be an entrepreneur, and you can be in jewelry. It does not matter what you're in. This is just the vein that I've chosen because it's certain things that it fits my lifestyle. And so that's where you have to decide, what do you want your lifestyle to be? Because actually, when I got started, I was just starting on the side. You know how people do stuff on the side? Because, like I said, I started my career in media, and I realized that everyone wanted to own their time. Everyone kept talking about how they were using time. So that's when I was like, but wait, I spent all this time at 22 climbing this corporate ladder, and yet I'm at the top, and everybody want to be down and be like, I just want to be free. They want to be young again. And I'm like, wait. So I started seeing all this, and so it led me on a path of self-discovery. And when I went on this path of self-discovery, that's when I learned that I had been so much time climbing this corporate ladder. And like my dad said, what if the ladder was on the wrong wall? That was mind blowing. How I spent all this time climbing this corporate ladder and it was on the wrong wall. And that's when I went down this journey of self-discovery. Now, it was some years in between of growth and everything else. And I'll continue to expound upon my story and how it's gone. But it's literally being exposed to such business at such high level at such a young age. It helped to give me insights of business and putting deals together in strategic ways. They call it creative financing, where you're able to be strategic about how you put deals together. And that's how I've been able to help people and leaders strategize of putting high level deals together so that they can monetize and create generational wealth. That's what we've been doing. So that's what I started doing. I was like, you know what? If I've been able to do it, we'll be a part of a historic deal. Then we were able to start doing some historic developments. Then we were able to start doing some historic buildings globally and internationally. It's like, wait, we can build other leaders. I can get intentional about this because I started to find out that there were 3 things that were alike when it came to putting people together. As long as you have the opportunity itself, the skill set and know-how what to do with said opportunity, and then the capital to execute. That's where you have to have a plan, because when the vision appears, that's when the roadmap appears. That's why it feels like I can be fearless and I can do anything, because I set my sights on a vision that's greater than my current circumstance. I understand the power of networking and leverage to allow me to connect with people around me, to allow me to get further than I could alone. Now, that's what I mentioned. You want to have the right people on your team, because sometimes things can go amazing and great, but then there are other times where it can go left, and you got to be prepared for that as well. And that's one of the things that I want to be more open with and talking about as well. Like, what happens when those things go left? Because I'm not gonna lie, in some of the failures, you got some people that are upset and that hate it. But then you got people that understand that it's business and you stand on business, and what comes around will come around. And that's what I'm excited about, creating a platform to really speak more about the insides of what happens inside of deals, what happens inside of the boardroom that can help to create this generational wealth. Because I think it's very mystified in that, oh, I got to have millions of dollars. Oh, I have to have such huge infrastructure. You really can take an assessment of where you are, understand what you have access to in relation to getting you closer to your goal and your vision. But you want to start with setting your vision first. That's just like, here I am in Atlanta. Before I set off to go anywhere, I have to first set my destination. If ever you guys use a GPS, you first put in your destination. So that is the same way here. You put in your destination of where it is you desire to go. And just as my mentor online said, 10x your dream, 10x your vision, because you probably did it based off how far you think you can go with your current circumstance. So now let's elevate thinking a little bit. That's why I love meditative practices. Those elements and having your morning routines help you to stay in the right mindset as you go about your day. Because constantly as an entrepreneur, you are solving problems. If you thought that coming up with your problem solution was the only thing that you had to do at that time, you are often the answer that someone is out there with a problem looking for. And that's great for business, but it can also put you in problem fatigue, where you're dealing with everybody else's problems, leaving you often not wanting to deal with your own. And that's why I'm looking to create the supportive community through Ignition Zones, which really supports and nurtures those that are taking the leap, those that are ready and creating and lighting the spark inside of them. That is what we're creating Ignition Zones. It's a hub of those like-minded individuals that are looking to do something different, that are taking life a little bit beyond the money. Like, yeah, if you want to get the 100,000, 200,000, 300,000, there are plenty of other YouTube channels that can help you and lead a succinct path utilizing real estate and anything else. And I actually coach and teach people how to do real estate. So if you want to hit me up one-on-one, I can help you with that as well, as far as how that helped me and change the trajectory of my life. But you don't have to wait and have millions to get started, but you do have to have a plan to get started. That begets the roadmap. So many people come to me and be like, hey, Jess, should I go left or right? Imagine if we started a road trip and we said, hey, should we go left or right? The first thing you would need to know is, where are you going? And so that's one of the things that when you come to me and you come through Ignition Zones, we like to take an assessment to understand, where are you now? Where are you looking to go? And this is how we create the hub full of resources and the network that supports you to getting there. Because as unique as your brand is, as unique as your element is and your idea is, there's still a framework and an infrastructure. How do I know? Because I've learned this from building houses through the years. I've built the $15,000 house and additional dwelling units. And I've also worked on building 11,000 square foot modern builds. All the gambit we've worked on and our team has done. But the same process applied, that we had the blueprint layout, the architectural plans, and everything, the plans that we did beforehand, before we got to the after. So we planned it out to play it out. Now, obviously, when you're in the field, things go left, things change. It goes, you don't know which way it's going. Like, oh, am I going left? Am I going right? So you got to be nimble. You want to be quick and you want to think on your feet. But that's when you're anchored in your direction, you may have to detour off the highway, but I still at least know that I'm heading north to New York. I still at least know that I'm heading in the direction of the trajectory of which I'm looking to go. So that's what I help leaders find their North Star, stick to it, and take immediate action through a roadmap that they have set. You know right now, if you need to release weight or gain weight, whatever one, because some people need to gain because they feel like they're too small, or if you know you need to release because you ate a little bit too much, you know exactly what you need to do and what you need to change in your diet to do it. Now the question becomes, do you want to do it? And that's where we have to get the discipline behind, the accountability and all of that, because you know everything you need to know to do. And sometimes you may need just a little bit of help. Like, hey, maybe instead of frying your broccoli, let's just bake it. You know, you get somebody to come in and offer assistance to what you're already doing. And that's what I offer as a coach. I look at what you're already doing, how we can come in, take a few of my resources and help straighten out some of your problems that you've been able to have. So a lot of the headlines that you've been able to see from the work that I've been able to do is literally all come from taking a vision, taking a plan, understanding what resources those particular leaders or entrepreneurs already had access to, allowing them the prep work to get themselves ready and postured in a better position to better take advantage of these opportunities that were made available. Just like when I was working at CBS in the Nick Cannon Morning Show, I didn't realize, having access to all those celebrities at that time, how I could have leveraged it into a consulting business, or how I could have been a manager, or how I could have gotten into PR. I didn't understand all of that then, but I had a wealth of opportunity. So now I am taking the time to really leverage my experience with media, to leverage my experience in business, and bring to you a series where we break down the insides of these complex deals, because they're really not as hard as you would imagine, and your mind probably tells you, which makes you think that's just something for them or other people. But you're probably more equipped than you think to handle these deals. So that's why at Ignition Zones, we look to cultivate those leaders, those minds, offering mentorship, offering one-on-one coaching so that you know how to work the rooms that you're already in. You already know the people that can help you take your vision to the next level. You may just not understand how to position yourself so that you can get the most out of that relationship. So that's what I coach you through at Ignition Zones. So be sure to hit me up at ignitionzones.com so that you can learn more about how I can help to shapeshift the deals and get you unstuck. Because it's time. It's time. Stop thinking that another year, another day, another moment is guaranteed. One of the things that we learned through COVID is that you may not be here. And the reality is, if you don't act now, if you don't do now, the opportunity may not align at the same space to give you the same grace. Now, what's for you is for you. You're right. But if you never act upon it, it's the law of atrophy, where whatever you don't pay attention to, it naturally goes into decline. So you want to make sure that you're building and nurturing and cultivating relationships, understanding your vision, knowing where you are and what you have to attribute to getting your vision completed. Therefore, it lies what you need, and you know who to partner with. We're creating this community, ignitionzones.com, so that you can find out more. But I love more than anything being able to connect, being able to understand your stories, your problems, and things that you're going through. And we can lay some of them out. We can iron it out. What problems and what situations do you have that I can help work you through, and see how we can climb to the top together? Because more than anything, what we leave that dash with is the legacy that we get to lead. So be sure that you're doing your part today. Take that time, meditate, choose you first, and then let's get to work. You got it. Let's get it. Let's go.